ocean, sinking deeper.
Hi beauties, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl G Vanity here with another video for you guys. And on today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys a few tricks and tips on how you can achieve a beautiful makeup look and a beautiful eye with using just one palette, and also some blending tips here and there within the video. And if you guys would like to see how I created this beautiful look, then continue watching. Before we get started into the video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a like, and watch the video until the end so you could leave me a nice comment down below. And go ahead and watch the video and let me know what you thought about it, and I'll see you guys soon. Please, I have you guys with me in my peripheral view. All right, up close and personal. We're gonna go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're gonna work on is our eyes. I already went ahead and did my eyebrows off camera, so I'm going to go ahead and do my eyes. To prime my eyelids, I'm actually going to be using a concealer today. I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, which is this one, and I've actually done a review for this concealer, and I will put it up right here. You can just click on that to go watch that video on these hydrating concealers. I'm just going to go ahead and just dab a little bit on my eyelid, on both of them. And then I'm just going to go ahead and blend that out. Alright, now that my eyes are prepped, we're going to go ahead and move on to eyeshadow. For today's eyes, the palette that I'll be using is the Matte Bug from the Crayon Case, which is this beautiful palette right here with all these beautiful matte colors. And I love this palette. And like I said, today's look is going to be very simple. I'm going to use maximum 3 shadows from the same palette. Probably 2 even, or like 3. I'm gonna try to just keep it down. And we're gonna go ahead. The first color that we're going to go into is this color right here, this shade right here. This shade is like a dark brown. It's not so dark though, it's like a brown but not so dark. And we're going to go ahead and just use a fluffy brush from Morphe, and that's what we're gonna use to apply in our crease area and blend it out all over our lid. My color on my brush, I'm just going to go ahead and pat. So the whole point of this video is for you guys to like see that you don't need that many eyeshadows or that much to create a perfect look. You guys can get a really nice, even colorful, blendable, beautiful looking shadow with only using about 2 to 3 the most of eyeshadow, and from the same palette. You don't have to go back and forth in different palettes. You can create a look using one palette. All right, that's the beauty of it all. So I'm just applying that color all over my crease, and when I place it on my crease, I don't usually start blending it upwards toward my brow bone. What I do is, after I'm done placing it and make sure that it's pigmented enough, by tapping it on my crease and my lid, I start to like tap up. I'm not even blending up or tapping it up. I'm like, from the crease, I'm like lightly just tapping it up. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing. So as I'm tapping it, it's like going up towards the brow bone and blending towards the brow bone a little bit, just like that. I'm just tapping lightly, and then you guys are gonna see that there's like a little bit of color that applied on my brow bone around there. And that's what this is doing, because I want it to be like a really soft, nice, blendable look. So this is why I'm just using whatever I already have on my crease with the technique of my brush to push that shadow up towards my brow bone. And I'm just continuing to do that. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit more of that color just to add a little bit more density to the eye. And I'm going to apply it again onto the crease on top of that. Tap, tap, tap. And then I'm going to do the same thing and push it up against the brow bone just to bring some of that color up there without making it look too harsh. So we're just going to go like that. As you guys could see, I bring that color up without making it look too harsh. Alright, so that's it for that first shadow. Like I said, you just want to make sure you blend it up towards your brow bone, but not too much, just so it can really be a really soft transitioning and there's no harsh lines there. We're going to go ahead and move on to second shadow. The second shadow, we're going to focus it from the inner corner and to the lid area only, which is going to be a softer color. So the next color that I'll be using is this peach shade right here. So pretty. And I'm going to, again, focus that on from the inner corner and to the lid area. And I'm just going to be using another brush. And this brush has no name on it. I think I got this from like AOA Studio or something like that. But I'm using this brush. It's like a little fluffy, but a little bit dense at the same time. I'm going to dip into that blush pink. So pretty. It's like a peach blush kind of. And I'm going to just literally tap that in from the inner corner of the eye and onto the lid. And this is another great like way if you don't want to use any concealer or anything to cut your crease with and doing all that stuff. You don't need that. This is just supposed to be easy and very simple, beginner friendly. Just tap that color. You don't need to use any concealer for it. It's going to be just a soft matte eye look. So just tap that color like that right from the beginning and onto the lid. And then when you're satisfied with that, all you have to do is go back to the brush that you had the brown. You don't even need to go back and dip it again. You can just go ahead and just take that and just tap the end of that color to meet with the brown so it could all be really nice and blended and there's no harsh lines. So just do that and tap at the end. And this is literally it, you guys. Like, this is literally it for the eyes. But you know, we're gonna go ahead and put some bottom shadow on the eye, but the same shadow that we use, but that's gonna be at the end. So now the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually use a third shadow, but that shadow is just going to be focusing on the inner corner part of my eyes. From the same palette, I'm going to be using this the white shade from the same palette, and I'm going to just focus that up in my inner corner. I went ahead and applied my lashes. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to skin. For primer today, I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Hydrating Primer. I'm not sure if this is focusing or not. This is the one I'm going to be using. I already went ahead and cleansed my face and applied moisturizer. And I'm just going to be using this flat brush to apply this primer all over my face. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to foundation. And for foundation today, we're also using Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Hydrating Longwear Foundation. And I'm using the shade 390. Now I'm just going to let you guys know off the bat that 390 is a little bit more darker and a little bit more orange for me. But I make it work once I apply my concealer and contour. It brings it all together. So I'm just going to put some on the back of my hand. And today I'll be using a beauty blender. And I'm going to go ahead and dab that onto the back of my hand, and I'm just going to lightly just work that into my face. Now, ever since Fenty Beauty came out, I never really could find like my shade that's like really good match for me, that works out really well for my skin tone and my undertone. When they came out with the first foundation, which was not the hydrating one, I think it was the matte one, and I ordered the shade online because they didn't have it in store. And when it came, it was like so orange. It was literally so orange, like I could not even wear the foundation. I wore it one time and I went outside and I looked like a pumpkin, no kidding. Like, I wish I had taken a picture or something. But it was just so bad. Like, so when this one came out, I was like, maybe they will have my shade. And I ordered this one again after doing my research. And when this one came, it's not as bad as the other one, but it's still not the shade that I would prefer because it is a little bit more on the like orange side for me. But I still make it work once I apply my concealer and everything else, my contour and all that stuff. It makes it not look orange, okay? And also, to contradict the orange, I just use a concealer that is a little bit more lighter than I would usually use, just to blend away that orangeness of the foundation, which I will show you guys in a few seconds. I'm also going to blend a little bit of that foundation onto my neck area, just because, like I said, it is orange, just to match the shades of my neck, shoulder, and chest a little bit more with my face, so I don't have a lot of different colors going on. This is how my face is looking like. Now we're gonna go ahead and move on to contour and highlights. For contour today, I'll be using the Juvia's Place contouring stick. Well, this is actually a foundation stick, but I use it as contour. I use the shade Zombia to contour, and this is the foundation stick right here. That's the shade that I use. I'm going to apply that on my forehead. I'm also going to apply that on my cheekbones. Go ahead and also take the side of the Beauty Blender, and I'm going to go ahead and blend that with the side of the Beauty Blender. And I'm just going to blend it upward. And like what I usually like to do is start with a little, because it's better to add less and then, like, you know, build it up than to add a lot to take it down, because it's just more annoying that way. So I usually start with a little bit, and then I end up eventually building it up by adding a little bit more at a time. Makeup is process, makeup is art. You just gotta do it the way that you like, the way that fits you and your face. So like I said, I usually just blend it like I'm doing right now, and then I'll usually just go back and add a little bit more if I feel like I want some more contouring for that day. But I usually just try to start light at first. So I'm just lightly just tapping on that. So I'm lightly just tapping on that contour, and I'm bringing the one on my forehead forward towards the center of my forehead. Like lightly doing, like, I'm not sure what this not really sweeping, because sweeping is like this, but I'm like lightly dabbing it and bringing it forward at the same time. Like, I don't know if you guys see the way my hand is moving like this. This is a new technique that I've learned, and like I just love the way it just blends everything out and it makes my face look. So that's what I'm doing right now. Like I said, bring it towards the center of your face, and this is how my contour is looking like. I feel like I'm not going to go in with more cream contour, but when I add my bronzer or set my contour, then I could go ahead a little bit deeper with the shade and to blend it a little bit more so it could be darker. Now we're going to go ahead and highlight. I'm going to be using the same e.l.f. concealer that I put on my lid to highlight my face. This is the e.l.f. Eye Hydrating Concealer, and this is in the shade 10 Sand, and I'm going to go ahead and put this under my eyes, my forehead, and the bridge of my nose. And a little bit on my chin, but not so much. So I'm just going to apply that like this under my eyes. Now, I usually don't like to use a light concealer because, I don't know, for me, I feel like this concealer right now is like light. But I've been like, you know, learning how to really blend it out. And the way that it comes out after I blend it out, I just love it so much. So I'm literally just going to put that much on my chin, and then I'm going to put on the bridge of my nose like so, and on my forehead. But yeah, like, I don't know, I've been just trying new things and learning new things. You could never not be learning, y'all. So I've just been learning, and I've just been learning a lot of new stuff, and I actually don't mind the lighter concealer as long as I blend it out to be really like nice and smooth the way I want it. And I'm using one beauty blender this whole tutorial. I'm not even switching. So when I start blending out my concealer, I could use the butt part of the beauty blender that had my foundation in it, so I can smooth out the concealer with my contour and my foundation, so everything is smooth, so I could have a nice blend of the both of them. So I'm going to go ahead and take the tip of my concealer, of my sponge, and I'm going to start blending out my concealer. I'm going to start on my chin. I'm going to just lightly dab that on my chin. Like so. And I'm going to take the butt and just work it around there. Just like that. I don't know if you guys could see that. So you don't want to blend it so much where you take away the product, because that's not the point. But you want to blend it so it gets to a point where you can see it, but it's not too harsh. And it actually looks really nice, and it can, you know, show really nice under the light, all right? Because this is the spot where light hits your face. So you want it to brighten up and show. So that's the purpose of this. I'm going to go ahead and do my forehead. I'm going to blend my forehead now and do the same thing. I'm going to lightly just pat that concealer with my beauty blender. Lightly dab around it with a light hand, and I'm also doing that like flicking gentle yo, I can't even speak today, flicking gesture, like, you know, the one I've been showing y'all, that the same thing I did with my contour. I'm just literally flicking it like so. And then again, I'll be going in with the butt of my beauty sponge that has a little bit of foundation. I didn't even add any more foundation. It's just whatever was left from it. And I'm going to go ahead and just blend that part of the concealer towards my forehead and towards the concealer, so everything can be smoothly blended. And there's no harsh lines at all, you guys. Just like that. I don't know if you guys could see that nice highlighted area on my forehead. Like, it's like nicely blended and nicely highlighted, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. Like, I love the way that it looks. Okay, so that's what you're going for. Now the next thing we're gonna blend is our under eyes with the same beauty sponge, same technique. So we're gonna go ahead and start blending. And as I blend my under eye, I'm going to bring it on the top part of my lips, so like my cupid's bow area, but not so much, just whatever is like coming down and left from the beauty sponge, I will use, because I actually like that effect. But if you don't like that, you don't have to do that. I'm going to go ahead and lightly tap the under eye area. And again, the whole purpose of the highlight is for it to be there, and you don't want it to disappear, but you don't want it to be too harsh. So you don't want to over blend it, which is not the purpose of the under eye under eye highlight. And like I said, I've been learning new ways and new techniques, and I'm actually starting to like the lighter under eye part, as long as, you know, I blend it correctly and I blend it really nicely. And I'm bringing it up here, and I'm about to start doing the same thing. I'm gonna take the butt part of the beauty blender and start to blend that towards the eye, towards where I put the concealer, like so. And I'm just blending it forward like that. So actually now the foundation that was left on the beauty sponge and also the help of my contour is just helping to blend out that concealer a little bit more, so it's not so harsh on my skin. Now what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to go back into my contour stick, and I'm going to take a fluffy brush. I'm going to lightly just dab the brush on that contour shade, brush it against my hand, because I really just want a little bit of that. And I'm going to go ahead and lightly contour my nose before I set it with a powdered contour. So from my brush, I'm just going to lightly start setting the side of my nose, and I'm going to bring it up to my eyebrow area and then bring it down just like so. And I'm gonna do the same from the other side of the nose. I'm gonna start from my brow area, the beginning of my brow, and work your way down. And I'm going to be using the butt of the beauty blender to blend this out properly. Now we're going to go ahead and take the butt of the beauty blender, and we're going to lightly just dab on that. Like so, just lightly to the side. Lightly. And I'm like doing like a flick motion still, like a rolling motion, just to bring all of those together, because I don't want any harsh lines, and that's just a technique that I use so I don't get any harsh lines. Remember I said I was going to take whatever concealer was left from the beauty blender, and I'm just going to lightly just dab that on my upper lip area, on the top of my lip, and I lightly blend that out. It's not a lot, it's not as much as what was underneath the eye, but just a little bit. And I'm going to take the butt again and just make sure the corners of that is blended very nice. Set my concealer. I'm going to be using the Crayon Case Chalk Dust Setting Powder, and I'm using the number A. So this is how it looks like if you don't know. And I'm using the number A. And I'm going to just use that powder to set everywhere that I highlighted. So underneath my eyes, my forehead, my chin, and the bridge of my nose. And I'm still using the beauty blender, you guys. And as I pick up the powder from the beauty blender, I dab it on my wrist just so I don't have that much powder, especially in the beginning, because I like to set it first, press firmly on my face first, and then if I want to bake or apply more powder, if I'm doing my eyes after, then I do that. But this is why I just put a little bit and then I press firmly under my eyes and everywhere that I highlighted before I go ahead and actually set or bake it if I bake. But I usually don't bake anyways, but just in case, you know, I'm doing my eyes last, I like to leave a little bit of powder on my face, then that's what I'll do. But I'm literally just lightly just press, well, not lightly, but I'm pressing it firmly onto my skin. And now I'm going to go ahead and take some of that powder and just clean up that area a little bit more. And I'm going to take a powder puff for that. I'm dipping in my powder. I'm doing the same thing, just lightly dabbing the excess powder off. And I'm going to go ahead and clean my thing. Now to start, when I clean my contour, I don't like to start right here because it loves leaving a harsh line. So what I do is I start from like the mouth area and then I work my way up. As you guys can see, it's like barely noticeable because I'm using a little powder because I really don't like that harsh line it'd be leaving, and it'd be hard to blend sometimes. So I'm just doing this just to set that part and also just to clean up my contour a little bit like that. So not so harsh, not so much powder. When I used to do this, and I used to just put so much powder for no reason, like, and it used to be so bad. But trust me, I learned my lesson. I've been learning. So I know. Now we're going to go ahead and set my contour. To set my contour, I'm actually going to be using an eyeshadow palette. I'm going to be using the Zulu by Juvia's Place palette. And that brown shade right here is like my favorite shade to highlight with. And to be honest, you guys, that shade literally like contour any skin tone with that contour, and I just love it so much. I'm just taking an angled brush. This is from AOA Studio. This is an F14 brush, and I'm going to go ahead and dip in that and lightly dust off the powder, and I'm going to go ahead and apply it on top of my contour, lightly patting it, and then I'm going to go ahead and blend it lightly upwards towards my under eye concealer, because you want to bring your cheekbones up and not down. So you would not want to blend downward. You just want to blend that upward towards this way. And then we're gonna lightly blend it on our forehead to set that forehead contour. And I'm just blending it downward, light motion. And then I'm gonna just take the tip of that brush and then just lightly just start going back and forth between the highlights and the contour, so there's no harsh line in between my forehead, so everything can be really nice and smooth. So, and I'm going to not even take any more product. I'm going to pinch my brush and just lightly just bring it down alongside my nose just to set that contour that I put there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my Sephora Micro Smooth powder, and I'm going to go ahead and just apply that underneath my eyes so I can smooth that out a little bit. And I'm just going to go ahead and take this fluffy brush. This is from Real Techniques, and I'm just going to dab in that powder like so, and I'm dabbing it off a little bit, and I'm just going to lightly just press it onto those areas like my under eye and like on the bottom of my contour. And I love this powder because it just smooths everything out, literally. So if anything was too harsh, like let's say you put too much blush on, you can use this powder to like help you smooth things out and not make it look so harsh. And I really, really love this powder. So I'm just literally lightly dusting and lightly pressing all together onto my skin. Okay guys, now we're going to go ahead and dip into blush. For blush today, I'm going to be using the Saharan Blush Volume 1 palette from Juvia's Place, and I'm going to be using this orange shade in the middle, and I'm still using that fluffy brush. I'm going to lightly dab in there, dust it off, smile, and put it on my cheek area and bring it all the way up Alright, now remember in the beginning how I said that I wasn't done with my eyes. I'm going to go ahead and add some of that blush color shade onto the bottom lash line before I go ahead and apply any mascara. And now we're going to highlight. To highlight, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sun Dipped Palette. And I'm going to be using the shade Bronze. As you guys can see, I love this shade. And it's almost done. So it's like my favorite in the whole entire world. It's the only one I use out of this whole palette. Like, it's the only one I like. And I'm going to lightly just brush that on top of my blush. But the higher point of my cheekbone. I'm going to put whatever is left on my brush on my chin and on my forehead. I'm gonna take a little bit of that and put it on my cupid's bow, and I'm gonna also put that on the tip of my nose and a little bit on the bridge of my nose. Now I'm going to go ahead and do lips. Now for my lips, I'm actually going to take my contour shade to outline my lips, acting like a lip liner, and then I'm going to be using this Buttercake lip gloss. This is from Pretty Perfect Experience. I got on like the lip liner. I'm going to go ahead and take that gloss and put it in the middle of my lip, like so. I love this gloss so much. I'm gonna go like that. That's such a pretty color, just like this. I love that gloss. Now I'm going to go ahead, before I apply my bottom mascara, I like to spray my face first. I'm not sure why. I think it's because like sometimes when you spray, when you just put the mascara, it can run and get all over the place. So I'll spray my face first. I'm going to be using the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. And I'm going to go ahead and just spray that all over my face. I'm just giving you guys a little bit up close and personal so you guys can see this skin, baby. See this skin? What you talking about, baby? This the skin. You guys see this skin? That's some beautiful skin right here, and that's on point blank period. And this, you guys, is the finished look, you guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope that you guys learned a few things. One or two things about blending and about how you could just use your eyeshadow palette and just use that one palette to create a beautiful, beautiful eyeshadow look. And I hope that you guys took something from this video. If you learned something from this video, then don't hesitate to leave me a comment down below. Also, don't forget to check the description box for some information that I will have there for you guys. And thank you guys so much again for watching this video. And I hope to see you guys next week. I love you guys so much. Bye. But before we go, since you're not doing anything, you might as well watch another video, right? So click right here and watch this video, okay? Go ahead. You can click on it. What you waiting for? Go click on it and go watch this video. All right now.